A bad sign, my grandmother would have muttered, looking heavenward. She would not have had to say another thing, and Beauty, nodding, would have taken off her apron and her starched doek, covering her peppercorn curls, and headed out the back door into the African night with its sick moon. The Cape veldt was different at night, alive with the wild smell of fynbos, a thing with its own heartbeat, its own snorts and threats. Children were called in from its heat at dusk, long before the earth cooled and its worn paths began to vibrate with the invisible steps of the ancestors and the menacing tokolosh, long before the moon would rise over the koppies in the east. But under a bad moon, no one went in the veldt, not even the ancestral spirits. Only a sangoma, a witch doctor, whose magic her old white madam had come to rely on. Beauty Masinama, grounded in the tradition of the Dembele nation, knew all about lunar tidings. My grandmother, a woman whose superstitions grew up in the crack between her Christian faith and the law of her Scottish ancestry, knew about them too. Beauty would have walked into the bush with measured haste to the foot of the kopje over which the sickly moon rose, to the source of her muti, her medicine. Tracing her steps back to the farmhouse before the moon had completed its arc, pigskin bag filled with twigs and rocks and bones and feathers rattling with each step, Beauty would have chanted a liturgy as ancient as the hills themselves. Only after she had laid out her wares in an elaborate tapestry on the back porch and kindled the blood of the long-deceased with her invocation under the moon gone bad, would she go into the madam's room with her early morning tea tray and reassuring, toothless smile. All would be well. Maybe. In Africa, there are good moons and bad moons. Moons that foretell of bounty and fortune, the long-awaited birth of a chief, a wedding, a visit from relatives, rain. Eclipsed moons, yellow moons, upside-down sickle moons are bad. Famine, crop failure, war, sickness. Moons with gossamer halos, nooses the sangomas called them, mean only one thing: death. People in Africa will go to great lengths to stem the doom of a bad moon. But here in Honolulu, a half-spin on its axis, the world is bright with fluorescent bulbs and can barely be bothered to look up. It is a cool night, and the heavy clouds are spilling over the mountain behind us, right on schedule. Solly is eager to go back inside, foregoing his leisurely round of leg-lifting for a quick pee against Mrs. Chung's mailbox. Attaboy. I look up once more at the moon and its ring before both are blanketed with clouds, and feel a twitch of foreboding and a longing for one of Beauty's spells. I wake up to a stiff neck and a throat that feels like it has dry ice stuck in it. Every inhale sears my throat, and I quite expect steam to come billowing out my nose on each exhale. My left eardrum pounds, and I can hear, for brief moments, the sound of blood flowing in my head. Just then, Cleo marches into my bedroom and snaps to attention next to my side of the bed.
"Mummy,"
she orders,
"put this on."
This happens to be her purple bathing suit, an item decidedly inappropriate for a spring morning, chilly by Hawaii standards. "Darling," I croak, squinting through puffy morning eyelids still crusty with sleep, "don't you think it's too cold to wear that?"
"Put it on,"
she commands. "Let me get up. Hold on a moment," I say, knowing that this is a battle I do not have the stamina to win.
"Put it on, put 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 it on!"
"Please?" I swivel around and glare down at her, totally awake. "Do not start whining."
"Can you put it on?"
she persists, and I wonder whether 3-year-olds have selective hearing like the husbands of naggy old women. I shiver barefoot, hold out her bathing suit so she can slip one foot in one hole, then the other, and try not to feel as though my watermelon head is about to roll off its stand. Before I can pull the straps up over her shoulders, she yanks them out of my hands.
I can do it,
she insists. Fine, I say, and reach for my robe.